Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Terence back at with another video. Hope your Monday is great as well as your first day of March. Hope you're doing well. Before I begin the video, I would like to thank you guys for the enormous, amazing support I'm getting on my content. Right, it's giving me direction in terms of where I need to go with the channel. Right, so thank you guys once again for liking, subscribing, and most importantly watching my videos, because we all know on YouTube views count more than subscribers, right? So it's been phenomenal. So thank you guys. So you probably read the title by now, right? So this video is going to be a few tips and tricks. Man, it's been a long Monday. Few tips and tricks. I feel that you all can use, or even I use daily, right? To boost mental clarity, right? That little fog that we have in our brains or in our minds while doing work, or when there's a goal that we need to achieve, and our mind is all zoned out because of a direction that we're not able to create for the said goal or for a project, as an example. Right? So how do we do that? I've broken it down into 3 things, right? That works for me. Try these things out, see if it works for you, and let me know your suggestions in the comments, right? Again, so what I figured out, it's taken me almost 5 years to figure out, I would say. You can push it beyond that as well, because one of the steps I'm doing it's been more than 12 years, but yeah, so it's taken me 5 years to figure out a formula that works for me. Again, it may not work for you completely, but you have to think about it in a long term kind of situation, right? It's not going to work, let's say, after 1 week, 2 weeks, or a month, right? It's over a period of time. You will see your mental ability, right, improve, and that's the fog that is running in your mind will decrease. So how do you do that, right? So how do you increase your mental clarity, especially when you're working on a project, etc., right? And in your day-to-day work. So it's simple. First thing I do when I wake up is I do some sort of strenuous exercise or workout. I do that daily, right? Ideally, I do it 6 days a week, sometimes even 7, and sometimes 5. So it depends upon the goal that I set, right, for that month or that quarter. So why am I saying that you have to do something strenuous or something hard and difficult the first thing that you wake up, right? Now, if you look at studies, and if you look at the early 2000s till 2020 and 21, right? If you take the average child that's growing up, right? He or she gets stimulated so quickly, either by caffeine, right? Which is not as potent, but I feel there's something more dangerous than that that's happening now, right? That is social media, as an example, right? Or entertainment, if I have to put it as such. So even watching television for the people previously, people who did not have Facebook in their times, probably it was television for them, right? So what are these stimulants that I'm talking about, right? Generally, for a person to get eternal happiness, or to achieve a goal, or to get some sort of a reward, right, he generally has to do some work. He has to be productive. He has to give something in return to get something good, right? But because of, let's say, social media, or the television, or the internet, we now know that all it takes is one click or a drag for you to get something new that makes you happy, right? Now that's all good, right? It's good to be happy, but if your 20% of your day is spent on, let's say, scrolling down on news feeds, or watching YouTube videos, or clicking on Instagram posts, or watching stories, TikTok, whatever, right? All those entertainment apps, right? Slash social media apps, right? So you're getting stimuluses really quickly without any effort at all. All you're just doing is click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, right? So your mind, because you're doing that so often, your mind is tricked into the feeling that, I'll get rewarded just by a click, or a drag, in this instance, as an example, right? For people who watching television a lot, it could be that just sitting in front of a screen on your sofa, or watching Netflix, etc., right? So the mind is tricked subconsciously. You don't even know that it's happening, because you're doing it for 20 to 30% of your day, right? And on weekends it's even tremendous, right? So what happens when you're actually faced with a difficult task, or a difficult choice, or a difficult decision that you have to make? Then you're like, oh, your mind is fully fogged up, and you're zoned out. You're in the Friday mood. You don't want to work. You don't want to do this because you feel that it's too difficult, etc. Right? It's because there's no clarity in your mind, right? Because you've been accustomed to uh, intense short bursts of pleasure, let's say in a second or two, right? So how do we get rid of that? So that's why I said the first thing that you do has to be one of the most difficult, but has a long-term reward. Let's say you want to work out for longevity, right? Or you want to work out because of a particular sport, or you want to achieve some goal, right? Now we know most sportish kind of goals, or most kind of work that require your physical presence there, right? They actually need some hard work, right? You're not going to see results in about a year or 6 months or 2 years, right? It's over a long period of time, right? Especially if you're a natural athlete, right? So you get results over a long period of time, right? So if that's the first thing that you're working on daily, like for me it's working out, for you it can be, I don't know, playing tennis, or it can be any sort of sport, right? Something strenuous, something physically demanding, right? At least when you first wake up and you're not looking for this immediate pleasures or stimulants that you get from scrolling down or clicking or double tapping, whatever, right? That at least resets your brain from the daily stuff that you generally do. Go visit Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff, right? So that's why I said what has worked for me first is doing something strenuous, right? And I like working out, right? Also for health, and it's also for a particular sport, right? As an example. So see if that works for you. That's the first one. So the second thing I feel is very important. I've also spoken about it in one of my previous videos. It's having a to-do list, right? Let's say I don't know, 11 o'clock do this, 12 o'clock do this, 1 o'clock you do this, etc. Right? 1 p.m. you do this. That you basically do a checklist. I don't need to show you how a checklist looks like, right? So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are your 5 tasks for the day, right? Now, how are you going to create this checklist, right? Generally, people say, oh, create 5, do one thing for 1 hour, and then if it doesn't work, go to the next one. No, that's not how you train. That's not how you train or develop that the kind of patience, or the kind of perseverance that you need to achieve a goal. So my suggestion is, if you're creating, let's say as an example, you have a to-do list of 3 tasks that you need to do within that 8 or 9 hours that you're working, either for yourself or for the company, etc. Right? So the most difficult one should be at first, which means you woke up at the beginning of the day, you did your physical activity like I was suggesting, then you logged into work, and the first task that you do has to be the most difficult, right? And you don't go to the next task until you complete the most difficult task, right? So in the span of 8 or 9 hours that you're working, right, apart from the early morning resistance training or whatever you did in the beginning, right, you're again daily subjecting yourself to tasks that are more difficult, right? So most difficult, more difficult, less difficult. You see what it's going like in descending order, right? Yeah, descending order basically. So if you set your day in such a way that your to-do list is written in such a way that your tasks go in descending order, in terms of the most difficult being the top, and if you have not completed the other 2 tasks, you push it for the next day and then compare it to which other new task is more important, or this current task, right, depending upon your priorities. So that's my second suggestion. Create a to-do list with in decreasing order in terms of resistance to your brain, right? So the most difficult one has to be achieved, and you don't go ahead until you complete task number 1, 2 or 3, right? So that's tip number 2. That's creating a to-do list and how to structure that to-do list, right? Now if you look at these 2 things I've already mentioned, your entire day probably has been a little more difficult than normal, right? Because you've done something physical at the beginning, you're exhausted, then you re-energize with, let's say, a breakfast, and then you start working through the day, right? And you've done the most difficult task at the beginning before the meal, the afternoon meal, so that way you're not sleepy. Also, another sub tip, or you can say another tip apart from the other one, main thing I'm going to talk about is, if let's say you like caffeine, if you like if you have tea or coffee or whatever, right, that suits you, try to have all of that before 12 p.m. right? Just go and Google half-life of caffeine, right? It's around 7 to 8 hours, which means let's say you have 50 grams of coffee, just as an example, okay, to understand better. So the half-life there would be 25 grams, let's say, for 7 hours. So 7 hours it will take your body to digest and use the 25 grams, and the other 25 grams is done in the next next 7 hours. So if you're having caffeine based stimulants in the evening, let's say 4 p.m. or 5 p.m., then it's going to be difficult for you to sleep and it will affect your productivity the next day, right? So this is another small tip before I go into the next one. I feel is very important and it's really helped me a lot. And the last tip for the video, right? Out of my 3 main tips, and the third one that I just discussed was just a sub tip of having caffeine before 12 p.m. My last tip, it's kind of easy to understand, but I can't explain it to you because the results that you get are only from experience that once you do it, right? Some people call it meditation, some people call it breathing exercises, call it whatever you want. All you need to do is, let's say your day is done and you're about to go to bed. So let's say, I'm just giving an example, let's say you go to bed at 12 p.m. at night, whatever, right? It can be any time of the day, it can be 9 p.m. for some people, it can be 8 p.m, it can be 7 p.m, right? Let's say it's 12 p.m. as an example. So 12 a.m. as an example, not 12 p.m, what am I saying? It's been a long Monday, guys. So yeah, so let's say it's 12 a.m. So let's say you're going to bed at 12 a.m, okay? So from 11:45 to 12, I would again schedule this time for my breathing exercises or some sort of meditation, or some people can, like, I mean, you can even try yoga, but I wouldn't try yoga at midnight. So slow breathing exercises, right? So what I would do is, let's say I would inhale slowly, as slow as possible, right, until my lungs are filled up, and when I exhale, it should be really fast. I don't want to demonstrate it because it's kind of funny, but I hope the explanation is there. All you need to do is inhale very slowly till your lungs fill up, and then exhale fast. So you're taking all that oxygen in quickly and you're dumping the carbon dioxide out. And don't use your mouth, use your nostrils. Okay, right? So that's another tip we can say. Always use your nostrils, right? It's something to do with the oxygen balance and some other gases that are released inside when you use your nostrils compared to your mouth, right? And it's much more healthier as well. So the third tip is do so breathing exercises. Why am I stammering now? No. So you need to do these breathing exercises, or you can call it meditation or yoga, whatever, right? Where you exhale fast, inhale as slow as possible, hold and exhale fast, right? Do this for just 5 minutes every day. 5 minutes is actually a lot. I just do it for like 4 or 3 minutes, sometimes 5-6 minutes a day, right? See if you can do it for 10 minutes as well. That would be great if you have the patience, right? So just before you go to bed, do that. Let me tell you, the sleep that you have will always be great, but your next day is going to be even more better. It'll be even more re-energized. It could be possible because of the intense or the excess amount of oxygen that you took in right just before sleeping, right? It has helped me in keeping calm, right? Generally, I'm a very short-tempered person, or I used to be at least, right? So that it really helps clear the fog at the end of the day. You had a long, crazy shift or a crazy day, let's say like a Monday today, like today it's been for me, right? Yes, and that generally calms and brings your, I think so, it brings your blood pressure down very slowly as well, right? Many other benefits. Try that. 3 things, just to reiterate. Like I said, the first one was, what was the first? Look, I'm so sleepy. It's midnight basically. Yes, the first thing you need to do for mental clarity is, I think, the to-do list. The to-do list was the second. First one was doing something strenuous and something physical as soon as you wake up. So for me, it's like working out. Second thing to do is create a to-do list for the day, with the most difficult being at the first, and don't move to the second task until task 1 is completed. And the third one is breathing exercises. Okay, and the pattern that I told you to follow, right, which is exhaling fast and inhaling slowly as possible. Okay, cool guys, I know it's been a long video. I hope you guys are liking the content. Please leave your suggestions in the comments. It will really help me a lot if it's written and given to me as well, right? Also feel free to like the video, right? Share it with your friends, turn the notification bell icon. I know I'm becoming a lot more confident after each and every video. Yeah, sorry, I'm just zoning out. It's like 12 a.m. right? No problem. So yeah, guys, let me know how your day went after you implement these 3 things. At least the breathing thing, which I feel that you have to do, is very important nowadays, right? Until then, I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye bye.